talked about how India is also bolstering Salesforce's global efforts with what is happening in the centers of excellence and so on and so forth. Take me through the kind of innovation that's happening in India for Salesforce globally, develop in India for the world.
Yeah, so basically it's not that we have one solution that's developed entirely in India. So today, there are many global leaders that sit in India with teams in the US or other places. There are many teams in the in India that have leaders sitting in other places. And there is collaboration amongst all of these teams. But all the solutions that you are seeing over here, the industry solutions that we have put out, the auto solution, the auto cloud, for instance, the health and life sciences cloud. Now, Indian teams have had large components of that coming out of their, efforts. But what happens is, we work collaboratively. So somebody may write the code, somebody else may do the debugging, somebody else will do the testing, somebody else will do the UAT, somebody else does the beta version. So it's a collaborative effort. So I cannot say that India gave this solution. It's something that is given collaboratively from across the teams in the world. So we have teams in India, we have teams in the US, we have teams in Israel, we have some teams in Dublin. So we have teams in various places. Now we are having teams in Mexico as well. So we have teams in various places. They collaborate in order to come up with the solutions.
Let me ask you a broader question as far as the global economy is concerned. We've just seen the Fed announce a 50 basis point rate cut, kickstarting.
Which was what the market was betting on.
The market was hoping for, and it's on the aggressive side. Do you believe that this is going to make a material difference now as far as the complexion of the global economy is concerned?
I definitely think so. The Fed and what it says and what it does still has an inordinately large impact on economies of other countries. Okay, I don't know what the Nifty is doing today. I haven't checked it out, but I'm sure it's going to go up. Okay, so
well, Wall Street has already given it a thumbs up. So,
so Wall Street will give it a thumbs up. The general, in fact, yesterday I was with a few people, and I was saying that 50 basis points is what's going to come. And they were saying the market wants 1. I said, come on, I said, you have to be reasonable. You can't keep going up.
Expectations.
Yeah, you temper your expectations. You can't do that. But I think a 50 basis points is, I think, reasonable, given everything else, given the fact that it has been kept high for a very long time, given the data print that has come recently. And definitely it's going to have a very good impact on the rest of the world economy.
Well, let's talk about India. I mean, given the fact that the Fed has moved with a 50 basis point cut, what's the expectation now? What do you believe the RBI is likely to do? How will this weigh on the RBI?
This is something that I will not comment on because I'm out of the,
You're out of the rate cycle.
Yes. I do not follow it so well, so what I say may not be actually correct. I follow the IT cycles very well these days, but not so much the rate cycle. But I do know that it has an impact on the stock market, and it has a salutary impact, I would say.
Well, speaking of cycles, and I'll ask you this in the context of the many cycles that you've seen in the banking sector. This chase for deposits and the big concern that's been put on the table as far as banks go. How do you look at this? Do you believe that there is a structural change now, given the fact that we are seeing this diversification, this financialization as far as savings are concerned?
So I think, this is following what I would say the natural course of things. Every developed economy has gone from being a deposit-led economy to an economy where deposits and debts from the market are more or less balanced. It has to be balanced. It shouldn't be one very much more than the other, then you are looking at trouble. But to be deposit-led banking system like we were, I don't think that's ever going to come back. And to say that you've got to get it done.
You think that era is over?
Yes, I do think the era is over. And there are two reasons for that. One, of course, is the fact that today we have a younger population with a far bigger risk appetite. Because their earlier generation are still working, they don't depend on the younger generation. If you look at my generation, and mine, not yours, mind you, my generation, we were supporting an older generation and a younger generation. Today's younger generation is not supporting the older generation and still doesn't have a younger generation to support. Okay? Given that, their risk appetites are far more. The markets are far better managed and controlled. So given both of these two things, I think, the shift towards investing in the market is here to stay. It's not going to get reversed unless there is something, of humongous nature that happens.
Yeah.
The third thing I think which has really resulted in this is the innovation of SIPs. The SIP is something which has enabled people to invest in very small sums.
Yeah.
And that again, if you look at India and the amount of disposable income that we have, it was impossible to buy even one Reliance share, in an earlier stage because of the sheer size of it. Okay. Today, because you can put 2,000 rupees at a time into the market, you can buy into the mutual funds, and the mutual funds in turn are able to give you that market access. So I think, this is something that is here to stay. This is the new reality.
So what is the challenge then for banks? I mean, moving from, as you said, a deposit led growth mindset to now having to accept this new reality.
So our treasuries will have to tone up. Okay? At one point of time, everybody used to blame us for lazy banking in the treasuries. I agree it was lazy banking. So our treasuries really need to tone up to understand how they should balance assets and liabilities. Whether the giving of those loans makes sense. Whether the price at which they are going to get the liabilities justify the margins that are required in order to give those loans. So the treasuries as such will become far more central to our operations than they have ever been.
Well, back to what's happening at Salesforce. There is clear enthusiasm, as I pointed out, with what has been delivered here in terms of agent force. But there's also a feeling in general. I mean, you drive down the valley to the city, and all you see on either sides of the highway are billboards screaming AI and screaming what AI can do for you. So it's a very competitive landscape. But do you also feel that we're perhaps at this point in time at the peak of the expectation cycle?
I don't think so. I think there will be more to come. What shape it will take is very difficult to predict. But I think what has come now is sufficiently mature for businesses to invest in. It's sufficiently mature. It gives a high rate of accuracy. In fact, Mark said that we are willing to have a bake-off. So, we are actually willing to take on the challenge and showcase that what we have is actually giving you results that are meaningful and that will make your business much better. So, if you are trying to call somebody and you are sort of, on the speed dial or whatever it is, and you're being asked to hold on and on and on and on, all those days will be gone. It'll be in the past. There will be agents that will be able to take your queries and run you through the whole process without missing a beat and do it well.
Well, what are you most excited about? As you said, you no longer feel unsuitable to be a part of a tech company because, we're moving into an era of generative AI where everyone's now questioning what the role of coders is going to be. So how comfortable do you now feel?
So, the coders will still be required in companies like ours. We will do the heavy lifting. For our customers at large, if they know English, that's more than enough. So which is why I was telling you, I was the true visionary. 50 years back, I majored in English, and that's all I need right now in order to create the agents. Okay, so yes, the coders will still be needed for the heavy lifting, but it will be like Mark showed the iceberg, it will be below the surface. You won't need them above the surface.
So from chairwoman, or at actually you were what? You were chairman at SBI, and you even tried very hard to get them to change it to chairperson, but they said the statute didn't allow that. And now to chairperson at Salesforce. It's been a big shift and a big change. But again, that mindset that we were talking about, do you believe that we're now somewhere closer to breaking some of those boundaries? Back home?
Yeah, I think so. I think people are beginning to realize that, The world is moving at a very, very fast pace. All cycles have become shorter, and you have noticed that. Look at the economic cycles, look at the market cycles, look at tech evolution. All cycles are becoming shorter, and human life is becoming longer. So to that extent, yep, I think, we are very close on the verge of, of seeing a very new world. A new world where I believe, we'll have more equality of opportunities because we'll be able to provide it to everybody. A world where, probably, you will not be able to or not have to see the kind of distinction that we see today, that a person who has money gets very good treatment and a person who does not get that sort of treatment. A person who is able to afford a very good school gets a hugely superior education, and a person who can't doesn't get it. AI, I think, is something that will be a great leveler for all of these areas.
You said you've gotten used to the idea of working with people who are several generations younger than you. What's been the big learning from that?
Well, the one thing that I love is their energy. And the second thing I love is their awareness. We were never so aware either about our own health or about the environment. Today's youth are so aware about these things, and they know how to channelize their energies into making these things better. I really and truly love that about them.
Arundhati Bhattacharya, it's always a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us here at Dreamforce in San Francisco. We wish you and Salesforce the very best of luck and appreciate your time here on CNBC TV 18.
Thank you, and thank you for coming in and attending Dreamforce.
No, my pleasure, absolutely. With that, it is time for us to wrap up this CNBC TV 18 special from all of us here on the team. For now, goodbye and many thanks for watching.